Brothers and sisters of the North, gather close to the fire. I am Soren Ironblood, a warrior who has walked both worlds, the frozen hell of the Arctic seas and the warm halls of Valhalla itself. Today I share with you a story that few living men know, a tale buried beneath decades of silence and shame. A story about the day I sailed beyond the edge of the known world, and what I found there changed everything. Before I tell you this story, let me ask you something. What if everything you knew about Viking settlements was wrong? What if there was an entire civilization of Norse warriors thriving in places we never discovered until one man came back to prove it? This is not folklore, this is not myth passed down through generations until truth became legend. What I'm about to tell you happened in 1492, yes, that year, when a man named Leif Erikson's descendant did something historians have completely erased from the record. And the reason? Because what he discovered threatened the very foundations of European power. You've probably watched countless shows about Vikings exploring America, settling in Greenland, pushing into unknown territories. But no one, and I mean no one, tells you about Eric Bloodaxe's heir, Magnus the Wanderer, who discovered something in the frozen north that made kings tremble and priests burn records. The year was 1467. I was not yet old enough to grow a proper beard, but I was selected for something no young man had ever been chosen for, a voyage that my father, Magnus the Wanderer, had been preparing for his entire life. He was ancient by then, his hair white as fresh snow, his eyes still burning with the fire of a man who had seen the impossible. "Soren," he told me on the night before we departed, "you are about to learn why we Vikings were truly the masters of the seas. Not because we were strong, many are strong, not because we were brave, many are brave, but because we knew places. We knew secrets that the entire Christian world wanted to bury." My father never spoke like that. He was a man of few words, preferring action to explanation. So when he said this, pulling me close in the darkness of our long hall, I felt something shift in the air itself. It was a warning, or perhaps a blessing. We sailed north with a crew of 40 men, the toughest, most loyal warriors from our settlement. The supplies were unlike anything I'd ever seen. Preserved meats for 3 years' journey, maps made from materials I didn't recognize, instruments that seemed almost purposeful, as if they were designed specifically to navigate something other than the normal sea routes. The first 2 months were brutal but familiar. We sailed beyond Greenland, beyond the northern settlements. The sun grew strange, staying in the sky for longer and longer each day until it never truly set. The men grew uneasy. I heard them whispering about curses, about Jormungandr rising from the depths, about sailing into the mouth of Yggdrasil itself. Then, on a night when the sky turned colors I'd never seen before, purples and greens dancing across the darkness, my father gathered us on deck. I'll never forget his words. "What you are about to witness will change you," he said. "Not all of you will survive, not because of storms or sickness, but because some of you will not have the strength to accept what your eyes will see. I ask you now, does anyone wish to turn back?" No one moved. We were Vikings. We did not turn back. The ice began that week. Not the normal Arctic ice we'd seen before, but something different. It formed in patterns, geometric, almost alive, and it glowed with a soft luminescence beneath the water. My father steered us through it like he'd memorized every channel, every passage. Then we saw it. The land should not have existed.
According to every map, every calculation, we were sailing over open water. But rising from the frozen sea was a coastline. Massive, towering cliffs of black stone, crowned with white ice that seemed to pulse with its own light. Behind those cliffs, I could see shapes, structures, buildings. "The nameless kingdom," my father whispered. "The place your ancestors found 500 years ago, the place we've been hiding ever since." What we discovered on that frozen coast shattered everything we thought we knew about our people. The Vikings who had settled there, generations of them, had built a civilization in complete isolation from the rest of the world, not by accident, by design. They had prophecies, you see, warnings that came from the Volva, the ancient Norse seers, about a time of great darkness, about a coming age when the gods would sleep and the world would fall under the control of men who worshipped only one god, who would burn books and silence voices. The most ancient of our ancestors had been given a vision: create a hidden sanctuary, preserve the old ways, wait for the time when the world would need us again. And they had done exactly that. The settlement was built into the cliff faces themselves, carved from living rock. Hundreds of structures, connected by tunnels and passages. They had discovered something beneath the ice, a source of heat that made the land habitable, that created its own atmosphere, its own ecosystem. I saw crops growing in chambers lit by some kind of crystalline formations that captured and magnified light in ways that defied understanding. I saw libraries, vast halls filled with books, not in Latin, not in English, not in any language that had contaminated the rest of Europe. Old Norse, the original texts, the knowledge that the church had been trying to exterminate for 300 years. But most importantly, I saw warriors, hundreds of them, thousands, an entire army of perfectly trained Norse warriors, maintained in secret for 5 centuries, waiting for a call that never came. My father took me to the oldest hall, a chamber so ancient that the walls themselves seemed to hum with power. There, on a massive stone throne, sat a woman. She was old, perhaps the oldest woman I'd ever seen, but her eyes were sharp as spear points. "Is he the one?" she asked my father, in the purest Old Norse I'd ever heard. "He is," my father replied. "Then the prophecy moves forward," she said, and she told me something that made my blood turn to ice, colder than the frozen seas outside. The ancient Volva had seen more than just a period of darkness. She had seen a moment, a specific time, when the hidden kingdom would need to reveal itself, when the old ways would rise again, not through conquest, but through the memory of who we truly were. That moment, the ancient woman told me, was coming, within her lifetime, within mine. "The Christian kingdoms are fragmenting," she explained. "Their faith is cracking. Men are beginning to ask questions again. In the coming decades, there will be a renaissance, a rebirth of ancient knowledge, and the world will be desperate for what we preserve here." She showed me scrolls, astronomical calculations that shouldn't have been possible in our time, medical knowledge that wouldn't be rediscovered for another 200 years, engineering specifications for things that wouldn't be built until the Industrial Revolution. "Your ancestors didn't just preserve the old ways," she said. "They preserved everything, every discovery, every innovation, every secret that the ancient world understood before Rome burned the libraries of Alexandria. When the time comes, your bloodline will be the bridge. You will be the messenger." I didn't understand then. I was just a young man, far from home, being told impossible things. But as I lived in that hidden kingdom, and yes, I lived there for 3 years, I came to understand. The prophecy wasn't about magic or gods intervening. It was about the cycle of human civilization. The Volva had simply understood that knowledge, when preserved and protected, could change the course of history. My father was dying when he told me I had to leave. "The kingdom will survive," he said. We were in a chamber overlooking the crystalline gardens. "It always survives. The warriors will remain, hidden, ready. But you must return to the outside world. You must become a merchant, a storyteller, a man of the north who people listen to. You must plant seeds." "Seeds of what?" I asked. "Of doubt, of questions, of hunger for knowledge that the church says shouldn't exist." I left the nameless kingdom in 1470, and I never told anyone where I'd been. I knew no one would believe me. I saw what was happening in the world. The church's power was too great, the skepticism of rational men too weak. People weren't ready for the truth. So I did what my father asked. I became a merchant. I traveled. I collected artifacts and knowledge, spreading fragments of ancient wisdom through careful conversations with scholars, nobles, and anyone who would listen. I was planting seeds, as I'd been instructed. For 20 years, I did this alone, watching the world slowly change, watching as men like Da Vinci began rediscovering principles I'd seen written in those hidden libraries, watching as the printing press made knowledge impossible to suppress, watching as the Renaissance gathered strength. And then, in 1490, I was approached by a monk in Florence who showed me a secret he'd kept hidden for his entire life, the proof that I wasn't the only one, that others, descended from Vikings who'd been given similar missions, had been working in secret across Europe, guiding the spread of ancient knowledge. The monk was 87 years old. He was dying, and he needed to pass on his burden. That's when everything changed.
You're watching this video right now, probably thinking this is just entertainment, a story about Vikings and lost kingdoms and ancient prophecies, harmless mythology to enjoy while you scroll or relax after work. But here's what you need to know, and I'm speaking as someone who has lived this reality. The same forces that tried to suppress Viking knowledge are still trying to suppress it today. Over the past 30 years, I have facilitated the rediscovery of 17 separate caches of knowledge from the Nameless Kingdom. Each time, we've placed them in the hands of researchers, scientists, and scholars who understand the value of what we're protecting. Some of that knowledge has changed the world. The principles behind modern renewable energy, specific mathematical solutions to problems physics is only now grappling with, medical treatments that are working miracles. But there are others who know about the hidden kingdom. Not the church anymore, that power has waned, but there are organizations, corporations, governments who understand that knowledge is power. They're looking for it. They're looking for proof, and most importantly, they're looking for me. I'm telling you this story now because I'm old. Not as old as my father was when he sent me back to the world, but old enough to feel the weight of years. The burden of this secret is too much for one man. It's too much for even a small group. It needs to become part of the collective memory. It needs to be known. Some of you watching will think this is fiction. That's fine. Let it be fiction for now. But when you see technological or scientific breakthroughs that seem to come from nowhere, that don't follow the normal path of discovery, remember this story. Remember that there are places in the world where knowledge has been preserved, hidden, protected. And some of you, a smaller number, will understand what I'm really saying. You'll recognize the truth beneath the story. You'll start to see the patterns, the way certain knowledge appears in unexpected places, the way some of history's greatest minds seem to have access to information that shouldn't have been available. Those of you are the next generation. Those of you are who need to hear this. The prophecy my father told me about is real. It's not about gods or magic. It's about the fundamental human need to preserve what is true, to protect what is valuable, to ensure that knowledge survives even when power tries to destroy it. The Nameless Kingdom still exists, somewhere beyond where maps dare to venture, on the other side of the ice that modern ships don't penetrate. There are warriors and scholars and keepers of knowledge waiting, not for conquest, not for glory, but for the day when the world is ready to remember who we truly were and what we were always meant to preserve. I don't ask you to believe this story. I ask you to question it. I ask you to investigate. I ask you to wonder why certain historical records have gaps, why some Viking expeditions are recorded in detail and others are completely erased, why the settlement patterns in Greenland and Newfoundland seem to suggest larger populations than historians admit. The truth isn't just out there. It's hidden within the places you've already looked. You just need to know how to see it. And if you're reading this, truly listening to this, and feeling something stir in your blood, some recognition of a people, a heritage, a duty, then perhaps you're also descended from the nameless kingdom. Perhaps you're also one of those seeds we planted. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever experienced something that didn't fit the official history? Have you read something, seen something, discovered something that made you question what we're taught about the Norse? Have you felt that calling in your blood, that sense that you're meant to remember something important? Comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me what you found, because the prophecy says the awakening begins when the people start to speak, when voices that have been silent start to share what they know. We are looking and we are listening. Subscribe to Vikings POV Stories for more tales from the edge of history, where legend and truth become impossible to separate. This is Soren Ironblood reminding you, history is written by those in power, but truth is eternal.